What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to dive into a video that so many people have been asking for, and that is, what are you looking for on your units? What am I seeing on these graphs? What is going on, Jacob? And I need to do a little bit better job of showing you this. So I figured, why not? Let's go out on the lake, let's idle it around, and let's talk about exactly what you're seeing on your particular units. Now, I have the Lowrance, this is Lowrance 16 Pro. Whether you had the Carbon or whether you have a Humminbird unit or a Garmin unit, you can still learn something from this video, so do not click off. We're gonna dive into it all right now. So right here's a great example of what a bait fish school looks like on side imaging. We're in the middle of a drain or a bigger ditch, if you will. Over here to the left, I'll bring him up. It's just sort of a hazy little ball of bait. It's exactly what a bait ball looks like on your side imaging. So just a heads up, that's what that is. Next on the list is going to be showing you guys what a ditch looks like. When you hear the word ditch, what are people talking about? Now, this would be like a main lake ditch. Now, there's two different sort of sides of this. Now, there's a ditch that, like, this is a very prominent ditch, like a smaller ditch. When I hear ditch, I think of like a smaller creek coming out, not a creek mouth like a major creek arm. It's different. A ditch is something that's literally a small little indention in the bottom. Not saying small, but smaller, if you will. So as we sort of go down through here, you're sort of seeing, you have your down imaging image, and now it's dropping down right now. This is where, what I would be calling it, this is sort of the bottom of the ditch. You can see the soft bottom here on your side imaging. This is the bottom of the ditch right here. And as you come up, that's the top of the ditch. So you sort of can see where it drops down, comes back up. The bottom of the ditch is going to be soft. The top of the ditch most of the time is going to be harder. On the sides of the ditches, that's a lot of times what's going on. So that gives you a little bit of understanding. That is a perfect image of what a ditch looks like. Traditional ditch fishing, no matter where you go in the country, that sort of is what it looks like right there. Perfect image. All right, so this would be a larger ditch, if you will. So you hear, like in the winter time, you hear, man, they're in the ditches. They're in, this kind of, when you hear that, this is, I'm going to show you sort of more on the map, but then you're also going to be able to see this as far as on your side imaging. So here on the map, here's a big ditch. It's a big ditch. It's the bottom of it. It sort of goes parallel with the river. That is what I would call a actual ditch. When you hear the words, like, there's ditches that are on the main river channels, and there's ditches that are actually like in the backs of it. People call ditches in the backs of creeks ditches, because there's ditches that run back in the back of like the creek ditch, the creek channel. But that's sort of just, it's a broad term that a lot of people don't understand because it means several different things. So to give you understanding, like, that one was a ditch, and then now this is a different type of ditch. There's multiple ditches. There's creek channel ditches. There's creek channels themselves. But that sort of gives you a little bit of understanding of what's going on. And that is, with the map and that sea map and everything right there, that is what that is. Okay, so we are sliding up on a floating dock. You have a floating dock right here. I want to show you guys what that looks like and sort of give you an understanding of what you're seeing. So the first two dots in the back, that is literally the poles of the dock. At the very back, there's two poles right there. You're not seeing a whole lot underneath it, okay? Now you see the back pole. That is all, a lot of times you're going to see, because that is all that is in the water are the actual poles. You can sort of see what I'm talking about right there and right there, right? And that might have been a cable. I can't really tell. There's some fish right here, but there was two specific docks right there. Sometimes you can see the float. When the floats are down, you can sort of see a little bit of that as well. I'm gonna idle over there just one more time. But that is literally what the poles of the docks are gonna look like. Because there's not a lot in the water, you're not gonna see a heck of a lot. But that is what you're gonna see. You're gonna see the poles in the back. And I'll idle it just a little bit more to give you a different angle on the side of this thing. It looks like there's some crappie in there. I'm gonna turn my contrast down, play with it. Looks like, so you see some like fish right there. Look like a crappie to me. Those look like a crappie. Don't be on my dock. That is right there a great image though too. Hold on. Here's a real good image of what a rock bank would look like, if you will. We're gonna sort of slide down through here and give you a good image on the rock bank and what that sort of looks like. And we're soft bottom right here, right underneath some stuff. There's a good rocky bank. You can sort of see the rocks up here starting to form. And what are you seeing right here towards the further than 100 feet? That is literally dry land. Okay, to give you an understanding, that is dry land. There's a rock bank right here. And you can see the rocks. The rock row itself is further out off. So you got the rock row, you got the bank. This is the rounded point, if you will. That's dry land. And that's why you're getting that black image, because it cannot shine up on the bank. So that is what you're seeing right there. Right here we have what I would call a small little brush pile. So if you're like talking about like pre-live scope, or you don't have live scope, you don't see that, this right there to that right hand side, that's a little small shrubby brush pile. That's all it is. And it could be natural, it could be somebody to drop that, but it's a hard bottom point. You can start to see how it comes out right here, like some lines on him. That is a small brush pile. Okay, so as we're going, I think we might have seen a little bit bigger brush pile, so I want to show you guys what that looks like on side imaging. I made a couple turns on it and it hadn't really showed out really well. Rule of thumb is just simply idling, and I'm just going over it right now. You can see it on down scan. So it's a little bit bigger brush pile. There's also a brush pile off to the left a little bit. That's a little bit bigger guy right there. That's what they look like. Let me see if I can't idle over it or idle by it now that I have that. All right, so you can sort of see there's 3 little pods of brush right there. There's 1, 2, 3. 3 little pods of brush on a hard point. That is what you're looking at. Could be good, could be trash, but that is literally what a brush pile looks like. Now, if it's a fresh brush pile, he's gonna look really, really full, almost like a bait ball, if you will, a bait ball. Or if it's a really big brush pile, it'll look like bait ballish. But that is what a brush pile overall, 9 times out of 10. Now, if you're on Lake Lanier, they look giant because they're all big, but that is what a typical brush pile will look like. Now that you guys got to see what a floating dock looks like, let's look a little bit on what an actual pole dock looks like. So a lot of different docks around the country, but this is what a pole dock will look like. And there's a lot more shadows. You can sort of see, you can see right now, there's tons, you're seeing every single pole, and the shadows you're seeing is the cast, the shadow that the pole itself is casting, because the image can't shoot past it, if you will. So that is what a pole dock will look like. There might be a little bit of brush, a little bit of stuff underneath it. You can sort of see some of that. Maybe that's a little log, but that's sort of like, and a lot of times you'll see, like, it's easier to see like crappie on side imaging, like sort of on that one dock, or like bait, like smaller, like bluegill or whatever, because you're getting larger groups. It's harder to actually side imaging, side scan docks and see bass out there, because they're not like, I can't go down on a side image a stretch of docks and be like, they're not schooled up. There might be like 1 or 2 bass on a dock. So I'm pitching around, fishing around. Now, there's obviously exceptions to that rule where that's like, I'm sure like the Ozarks or some of the places that they have like big groups of fish that get on docks. That might be a different story. But overall, like, I'm utilizing side imaging docks, looking for brush, cover around the dock, or understanding how deep the dock is to understand if I'm gonna fish it or not. Okay, so right here we are looking at what a typical river ledge is. So you hear, oh, the bass are out on the ledges. Now, I'm not saying that everybody's using this term correctly, but if you want to actually know what the definition and what a real true river ledge looks like, this is what it looks like. Off to the left, you see it drops off. It's a very sharp break. There's, that's basically the bottom over in here is the bottom of the river ledge itself. Right here, we're idling down. We're up on top of the river ledge. So giving you a good understanding of what you're looking at, and we're idling down a river ledge, a lot of times looking for a group of fish that is set up on top of it. So fishing ledges, we're typically fishing the top part of these ledges, not down there in the bottom where, you're not fishing on top of the ledge. There's a lot of times where the fish will set up. So that gives you a good representation. Now there's some stumps down through there you can see. Definitely a few stumps, a few different things going on. But overall, that is what a breakdown of what a true river ledge looks like. All right, give you guys a good representation of what a rock row looks like right here off to my left. This is a rock row. I might turn my contrast down a little bit. Well, that's on my, let me turn my contrast down a little bit. That would be what a rock row would look like right there. Perfect little rock row. And there's also, just to give you guys an understanding of what's going on as well, over here to the left, I'll point it out. Those are probably catfish or some sort of trash fish. You also see the shadows right there. I'll bump it up a little bit. Where you can see the shadows. Those are probably junk fish and trash fish. So just to give you an understanding of what big fish look like on side imaging, that's sort of a good understanding of what that looks like. Okay, so we're idling down this rock wall. I want to show you guys one thing. As we go down through here, hopefully we can find something. You can see a lot of bait, a lot of stuff going on. You can see the rocks down through here. But I'm looking for one image that I wanted to show you guys what it would look like. It's easier to see on a bank that's not as, you know, steep or anything, but you'll get an understanding of what I mean. There's a couple things that I could probably point out right here, but let me just get my contrast down a little bit. So what I'm trying to show you guys is what a good laydown looks like. There's a laydown right here on the left. That's a laydown with no branches on it. You can sort of see how it's laid down through there. But I'm trying to get a good image of a solid laydown and show you guys what that looks like. And that'll give you an understanding of, like, if you see that on a bank and it's underneath the water, that is what it is. Obviously, the more branches, the more full it's going to be, the more prominent it's going to be on your side imaging, your side scan. But I'm not having a great luck right now finding a very, and if it's a steeper bank with, like, there's actually a little bit more right there. There's several laydowns down through here. These are all small laydowns right there, laydown. I mean, they're not small, they're just not giant laydowns, if you will. So it gives you a little bit of an understanding is these bars that are coming off the edge, that's almost like a little bit of brush, or that's actually probably grass right there, believe it or not. That's the start of some grass that's starting up right here in that depth zone. So giving you an understanding of what a solid laydown. I'm trying to get us one right here. We have grass, several laydown there. I mean, that's about as good an image we're going to get right now right here, but there's a laydown right there. It's real subtle. It doesn't look like much, but that is what a laydown would look like right there. You can sort of see where my cursor's at. There's several laydowns on that bank. You can see some down, obviously, on down scan and down and see what's sort of going on, but that's basically a laydown and what it's going to look like. Obviously, if it's a bigger giant tree that's extended over a big bluff, you're going to be able to see a little bit more there because it's going to be like isolated, if you will, to where you can see it. When you're going to have, it's harder to see your images when you have really, really hard bottom. It's actually harder to see the intricate details and the details on the trees and stuff when it's over something, sort of like where that dock was at. When there's nothing there, you can see those crappie really well. But in this scenario, you know, you can see sort of some of those bigger laydowns and some laydowns, but you're not going to see if there's big giant branches and everything there, you're going to have a pretty good understanding that, hey, that's a big giant tree. And last but not least is, what does a bridge look like on side imaging and side scan, side down scan? So we're going to go bridge piling. You're going to see a little bit of the actual bridge coming off your right hand side. You can start to see right there already. There's some crappie probably up in there. You can sort of see some of those dots. You can see off the left hand side, there's the other bridge piling, and you can see the rock point that extends out off of that. Most bridges are going to look like this, but that is what you're actually seeing. You're seeing both of the pillars. You're seeing the rock row that comes out off of this bridge, and that is a snapshot of exactly what you're seeing. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I wanted to give a beginner look and some of you, some advanced looks of what really is what you're looking at. This is the stuff that not always, every angler has the opportunity to understand because you're not out there all the time. And myself as a professional angler, I sometimes just take that for granted. So I wanted to pass some of this information on to my fellow fishermen, hopefully, because this is a goal. I want people to learn. I want to teach people to enjoy trying to find fish and trying to figure out how to catch fish. And I want you to find fish out there and have success out there in the water. So if this video helped you in any way, drop a comment below, let me know. I'm always trying to teach you guys a little bit more how to find your new places, find those places, because there's a lot of stuff out here on these bodies of water that is untouched. Obviously community holes, that's how it is. But being able to go out there and isle around is fun, and finding new places. And once you figure out what you're looking at, hopefully this video helps you to understand what you are looking at, and you go out there and figure out the best spot of your life. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you all on the next one.